Sure.
Hi, Attila. How are you?
Hello. Good morning. I'm doing great. Thank you.
Okay, and thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to interview you.
Sure. I kind of got to know you through the Facebook and I follow you. You follow me. And so I really appreciate you approaching me to asking questions.
Yes, thank you. So, friends, we have one of the industrial giants in hypnotherapy. So, Attila is one of the renowned hypnotherapists and stage hypnotist, or almost I can say number one stage hypnotist. So, he has received 19 awards since 2005, and his credentials, friends, I'm not going to read his credentials out. Attila has performed in 8 countries since 1977. He has shared stage with renowned magicians and so many things, like one of the celebrities in the field of hypnosis. So let us know more about Attila in his own words. So Attila, how did you get into hypnosis?
Well, thank you very much. I am originally born in Hungary,
Okay.
and I emigrated to Canada legally in 1983.
Okay.
So when I was a kid, I got into the magic as hobby.
Okay.
But by age 13, 14, I started to doing the shows and performing. And eventually I graduated from a circus school. I got actually a performing license as a magician. And it was a communist country, which I hated it. So eventually with my wife, we left the country and I ended up in Canada.
Okay.
So I did a lot of magic shows. I traveled with my magic shows all over. And in California, I was performing actually on a magic convention in it was Monterey Bay, California. And it was 1991.
Okay.
And a very famous stage hypnotist, Peter Levine, came to talk to me after my performance, after my show. And I used to have a magic shop in the world's biggest shopping center. And he told me when he will come to my town, he will come and visit me. And he did. And he gave me tickets for his show. So in 1991 was the first time when I talked to a hypnotist and I went to see a stage hypnosis show. And after the show, I went backstage talking to him and I asking a lot of questions. And he
Like
said
I'm
one,
doing right now.
and he said, you can learn this, nothing really, really big deal about hypnosis, but don't think that you are a healer.
Okay.
So with this sentence, he already planted a seed, that, okay, you mean actually you can heal with this stuff? Because look, when you look at a stage hypnosis show, and if you don't understand what's happening, I really thought I just saw the devil, but I don't believe in the devil the way, as in the religious aspect. So I started to learning this, and I had a coffee shop in downtown, and across from my coffee shop, they used to have a big library. So I got books, and any books I found on hypnosis were those medical books. So that's how this whole thing started. And by 1996, actually, in Canada, I was started to teaching hypnosis.
Oh, wow.
So for 20 years, I was teaching at the Alberta Hypnotism Institution. My teacher in the beginning, she was Annie Slackton. We worked together for 20 years. And then eventually I ended up in 2005, the first time in Los Angeles, in the American Council of Hypnotist Examiners, in their annual convention. And I had so many new different quick inductions and different way of doing hypnosis and hypnotherapy. So I got an hour presentation. And then after that, it just started to spiraling down, more and more and more. In 2005, I kind of retired from the show business. I had a car accident coming home from a show. very early in the morning. We rolled in the ditch. I broke my neck. I had titanium rods, screws in my neck. I survived a broken neck car accident.
Oh,
And that was the real moment, actually, when I realized how powerful hypnosis is.
Mhm.
Because in the ditch, waiting for the ambulance, and when the ambulance and when the medical emergency arrives, you know, all what I was doing a cantation and almost like mantra for me to begin the healing on the cellular level, that my body immediately responding to the trauma. And it's not going to leave lasting effects of the injury. Because if you receive powerful suggestions within the first half an hour, but let's say 2 hours after an injury, your body has a lot more chance to recover.
okay.
So in the moment when I tried to stand up in the ditch, I climbed out of the wreckage
Oh,
and I tried to stand up and I couldn't stand up. And I said, oh my God, I broke my back. And then when it hit me, immediately I just laid in the grass and I started doing hypnosis, self-hypnosis suggestions.
wow.
Now, when the emergency arrived, I was fighting them not to talk to me because these people are not trained in hypnosis or clinical hypnotherapy, and they say so many negative and damaging words which could actually affect the person in this situation. Anyway, I recovered 1 day after a neck surgery with, as I said, titanium rods in my neck, screws. I looked like the Terminator when you look at my x-ray. And 1 day, and the next day I walked out of the hospital. And the surgeon says that is impossible. After the surgery, when he came in talking to me, I said, I want to go home tomorrow. And she says, there is no possible way. And I said, oh, yeah, I'm going to go home. And he says, no, nobody can do that. He says, you just broke your neck. And then I said, listen, I'm going to go home tomorrow. Trust me. And he says, okay, if you walk around the ward 3 times, I let you go home. So all night I was holding the wall, walking around, just to make sure that I'm strong enough to walk. Next morning he comes in, he says, no, can you walk? So I stood up just like a robot. I stand up and I walked. And he says, okay, you can go. So 1 day after the broken neck injury, and the next day I went home. I walked out of the hospital.
Application of hypnosis, live example.
It is. Now, since that, I had 2 knee surgeries,
Mhm.
one in Canada, one in the Dominican Republic. And I used self-hypnosis and I watched the surgery. I was talking with the surgeon and they never seen anything like that. So
Oh.
in Canada, actually, one of the surgeons, he says to me, I'm watching him doing the operation on my knees, and when it's over, he says, you are not the normal kind of guy. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
I read
"Have-"
this in the books, but first time I got to.
And I told him, I said, have you ever wondered that maybe the human brain is a lot more than what you guys are allowed it to be? So trust me, hypnosis and hypnotherapy, what I learned, I did it on myself already.
So Attila, I'm curious. When the operation or this surgery was being performed, so you are not under the effect of anesthesia. No anesthesia
Nothing,
was given.
nothing, zero,
Seriously?
nothing,
No anesthesia, and you underwent the
nothing.
surgery.
No, and I watched the entire operation talking with everybody. The anesthesiologist was standing by just in case.
Just in case.
Yeah. Actually, you believe it or not, took me several meetings and months. I had to prove that to them that I don't need anesthesia because they never done any surgery like that. So the guy was blown away with it. He says, how do you want me to operate you if I don't use anesthetics or if we don't put you asleep? I said, well, trust me. So when I'm in the morning in the operating room, and he says to me, okay, so do your boogie boogie. So what are you gonna do? And I'm like, don't worry, I'm already ready to go. Because I programmed myself. By the time I put the gun on, they put me into the operating room. I was ready for operation.
Oh.
And he explained everything on the camera, on the monitor, what he's doing there with all the stuff in my knee. So it was pretty cool actually watching it.
And you didn't feel any pain?
No. No, listen, through hypnosis, as a matter of fact, in my courses, in the medical courses, I do shows, videotapes of a French hospital where they do operations and they only use hypnosis. And there is actually a video clip when they explaining that hypnosis can block the pain receptors, sending messages through the central nerve system to the brain. So you can actually block this information through hypnotic suggestions, not reaching the brain.
Okay. So
I know it sounds like magic,
yes.
but it is real.
Because we have a living proof.
Trust me, I proved everything to myself.
To logically also. Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Amazing. So, Atila, I have one more question. Okay, because it was surgery situation, you applied hypnotherapy on yourself through self-hypnosis. You could manage the surgery process and all that. Let us say sometimes pain could be a useful signal as well. So in
Absolutely.
such situations, if a person has programmed not to feel any pain, it could have other effect as well. So what is your suggestion in such situation?
You know what? You have an excellent point of view, what you're bringing up. And in my courses, I do explain to people, we can remove pain or change the feeling or the sensation of pain temporarily until the person is under proper medical care. Or we can only do this, let's say, when the medical doctors, they can't find any reason for physical pain to still exist. Okay, and then as a final result, we can go into these or surgeries, or we can prepare a person, for these procedures. But just to giving hypnotic suggestion to removing the pain, I will do that only to somebody temporarily until they are in a proper medical care.
Like, thank you. Thanks for that clarification, Mathura. And since you have been one of the pioneers in the stage hypnosis, could you please clarify some of the myths around stage hypnosis? Like, we get to see the videos on YouTube and different channels, like people were made to clock like a chicken, or like, do all not things. What is that? So again, what if the hypnotherapist makes me do all these things in the clinical hypnotherapy sessions and all that? Could you please clarify the
It's two totally different fields.
Yes.
When from being a magician as a young man, I went into stage hypnosis, but I wanted to have credentials. So I took trainings. Okay. Because I wanted to make sure if I do hypnosis, I'm qualified. I'm not just read a book, So I went through 10 different courses. And each course brought up another possibility. Oh, I need to know that. I need to know that. I need to know that. What if, So eventually, I finished all my training by 1997. And by 1996, I started teaching in the beginning stage hypnosis at the school. And after I finished, after I had my car accident, I finished psychology. Then in 2014, I finished nutritional science. Okay. Now it's very important because I noticed through my client that I do work with them, and we heal with the emotional problems. We work with the regression therapy, sometimes even past lives, the paranormal situations. Yet I had many people who had a reoccurring problem. So they go home a few months or maybe a year, everything seems to be fine, and then they restart, relapse, and they come back, and I didn't understand what's happening. And that's when I started to study the nutrition. So listen, if your digestive system is not healthy, your brain ain't gonna be healthy. And there are so many bad diet trends out there that people follow, and they literally speaking, they destroying their gut bacteria. And the gut is the secreting all the hormones for the brain, serotonin, dopamine, you know. So this is how I got involved with everything. So when somebody comes to me, I'm looking into more as a holistic approach.
Okay. Okay.
And I want to make sure that I can't use a cookie cutter. You know what I mean? You can't just do everybody the same way.
Because every person is unique. So
Every person is unique.
I'm like going back to my question about stage hypnosis. Like what exactly happens? Like how does stage hypnotist selects specific people and then could make them go through all that stuff that we see?
Uh, because I studied a lot of psychology and I studied the personalities, so it's easy to quickly select out
Mhm.
people who are responding.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So there are specific tests, there are specific routines, specific words or sentences I am applying. The way I approach with my body language, the way they responding to my handshake. So all of these immediately gives me a sign whether this person is going to follow my instructions. So from this, it basically becomes an elimination. We select out on the stage those who are willing to participate.
Oh,
Trust me, I cannot hypnotize anybody unless they are participating.
wow. Thank you for clarifying that.
You
And
can't. Anybody says that they can hypnotize anybody, buloni.
awesome. So let us now get into the clinical side of hypnosis. So, like, there is a myth that what if this hypnotherapist will, find out my secrets, which I don't want to share, or may find out something which I do not, which I'm not comfortable to talk about, etc., against my will. So, what is your answer for that, Attila?
These are general questions usually what most
Yes.
people asking. So listen, hypnosis is not a truth serum. A person who can lie, they can maintain the same lie under hypnosis. Hypnosis is not gonna make you become like you forget all of these things and you don't know what's going on. Even in a stage hypnosis show, people are aware of what's going on. They are participating in it. The only sometimes happens that in the end of the show, some people may experience amnesia.
Okay.
Okay, but there is no such thing that cannot be recalled or it cannot be erased or cannot be make them remember. Uh, Listen, remember, stage hypnosis also creates this mystical, powerful image. And my approach was to stage hypnosis is not the power trip. You know what I mean? I didn't want to be this dark image, this powerful individual. I wanted to be the friendly hypnotist. I wanted them to trust me. I wanted them to experience something listen, so they don't have to get drunk to let their inhibition go. You know what I mean? So they become the stars of the show, and then when they walk up the stage, it feels them. I never thought I'm like that. I want to do it again. It's an uplifting feeling instead of embarrassment or being scared of.
Okay, okay, right. Thank you. And one more question I frequently come across is, okay, I trust. Let's say, okay, I'm your client, and Attila, you are my hypnotherapist. Okay, I trust you because of your credentials, your experience, and all that. I also trust that you will take me into the deep trance. But what if I will never come out of that
No such thing.
hypnosis? Yes.
Okay, there is no such thing. In reality, a person in hypnosis, all what you see is just when people do yoga or meditation. It's an altered state of relaxation. As a matter of fact, they become more in tune and they are more into themselves. So there is not, it's not, maybe it looks like it because on the stage, you know, they seems like they fall asleep and they act out all kind of silly things. But okay, if they don't want to, they can reject it anytime. And it happens in my shows too. So in a clinical setting, let's say you come to my therapy and here is the couch, okay, so or the recliner chair. This is my client's chair. So they're gonna sit in this chair, and first of all, the first meeting, it might be only an interview. Okay, because I need to find out who you are, what am I gonna work with, and what is your background. Oh, sorry. Just give me a second. I moved my camera
Yes,
USB.
yes.
Sorry.
No worries.
Yeah. So basically, my first approach is to get to know your client well. Okay. It's listen. The person comes here. By the time they make the decision that they want to see me personally, we already talked on the phone. We exchanged emails. So they are already dealing with their issues. They are already in a self-hypnotic trance with their own traumas, with their own problems, right?
Yes.
So I have to snap them out of their own hypnotic trance, and I have to induce a formal trance, which I am going to guide them into a therapy session. And in the therapy session, I need to decide what type of a therapy I'm going to use.
Okay.
I'm going to use direct hypnosis. I'm going to use Gestalt dialogue, TARTS therapy, regression therapy. Is there a possibility maybe past life regression, which I never guide anybody directly to past lives.
Okay.
Is this make sense what I'm saying?
Yes, yes.
So if I get to know you, what is the issue, the problem you are dealing with, I have a decision after that. Okay, let's approach this. But if the person is too tense, too scared, or too, you know what I mean, too deep into their own issues, I may just do a simple relaxation technique after the interview.
To dehypnotize.
And I'm going to get them ready for the next time when they come.
Awesome, awesome. And Attila, how is clinical hypnotherapy different from general self-hypnosis or regression therapy? So there are different terminologies: regression therapy, medical hypnotherapy, clinical hypnotherapy. So could you please clarify behind this jargons?
Absolutely, absolutely. Hypnosis we're referring to is basically, let's say, behavior modification or reaching or approaching or accomplishing your goals. Direct hypnosis means that you come and you tell me, let's say, you don't want to picking your lips anymore. You know what I mean? Or you picking your eyebrows, or you have bad habits, or you smoking, or you have a specific goal. You have an exam and you are scared. You know what I mean? So with your goal, I'm going to design a script which I'm going to use and say back to the client, which we record. Now they can record it on their telephone, but before that I use the CD, and then we use an MP3, you know, these USB sticks. Yes. Now they just record it on their phone, so they can re-listen to this. And this is a program basically about a 30 days period of about a daily half an hour to listen to this, to get programmed into a change. This is called direct hypnosis. Okay. Analytical hypnosis, when we are analyzing the information within the client, but we are already tapping into memories which may be linking to trauma or emotions. That's basically, but it's a very complex. The course is 1 week. Each of these is 1 week course. 10 courses I have. Okay. The third one is regression therapy. And regression therapy is, now I know what I'm dealing with, and I have to find the origin, the cause. Okay. So the cause, listen, this is, nobody teaches it. It's always between 3 to 7 years of age. There is an impression in the brain, in the emotional behavior, as the person is developing their personalities, something they maybe got hurt, misunderstood, there is something happened, not necessarily huge trauma.
Okay.
It could be a simple thing. How do I say? Children, they memorize or remember things differently than maybe as an adult. You know what I mean? But that creates an impression. So just give you a hint. If I'm gonna tell you that you are not allowed to get a candy, and if I'm gonna punish you with this candy, now you have an association for something good means bad. You know what I mean? So later on, anything in your life, age 18, 20, 30, 40, 50, can trigger the same emotion when you have something good feeling, but now you know there will be a punishment when you get reward.
Okay.
Do you follow this?
Yes, yes.
And
yes.
the origin is not to dealing with this particular issue. When was this set into the brain when it became a part of your belief system? And that's what we will go after. Now, let's say we go through regression therapy in different stages, and we end up between this age 3 and 7. That's the most crucial time of a child development, social, emotional development. So now, here I can't commit nothing. I can't find nothing to the cause, but I'm working with it here in the today. And that will be the moment I may ask specific questions. Allow your subconscious mind to taking you to the first time, to the origin. And it happens sometimes this client actually switches over to past life. Then now we are in a past life regression.
So Attila, isn't there a chance for the client to get re-traumatized? Let's say my teacher was very harsh with me and I built certain patterns that not to trust anyone, anything, some very mild or moderate trauma or whatever the level of trauma it is. It got suppressed and it resulted in certain behavior each time I meet this authority figures in my life. So I have this fear or not so comfortable, and you regress me into my childhood, and there aren't there chances to re-experience the trauma. So how do we what's your answer?
There are many, many different ways we can approach this. Okay. So the idea in regression therapy that once you are hit that, I have to first of all to figure it out whether it's a pseudo regression or true regression. Okay. Pseudo regression, it basically means that from the present you are thinking and talking about the now. So when you maybe actually go back to, let's say, age 7, and you're going to talk, behave, and talk like it, and you go through the trauma, we're going to stop that.
Okay.
I don't want you to relive or you really experience the trauma. We will move you out of this situation and you become an observer, like you're watching a movie, or you are telling me what happened to that person there. But you are not reliving it. I never, ever.
Okay. Okay.
However, there are certain times when there is a good way to release or allowing the client to relieve the trauma.
Yes, that also.
You know what I mean? This is we call abreaction. You know, like shaking, crying, or I had a client here, they were hitting with the chair and screaming and yelling. And so I use a lot of psychology, the Gestalt from Fritz Perls.
Okay, okay, that's amazing. And what is this medical hypnosis all about?
Medical hypnosis is basically, I'm referring to is, it's most people they think, okay, so am I going to be able to work in a hospital? That's not the case. There are some hypnotists or hypnotherapists, actually, they manage to work with hospitals and helping people to get ready for surgeries and stuff like that. But medical hypnosis is basically understanding the language, how to speak to somebody in trauma. You know, emergency responders, police people, nurses, firefighters, the first responders who arrive to a scene. It's crucial and could be very, very damaging to the person, not use the proper language. Does this make sense?
Yes, yes. A
To give you a
lot.
hint, when I broke my neck, so I'm doing this self mantra, and they wanted to put me on this board, and one of the emergency responder rolled up a blanket to put it underneath my back, and the other says, "Don't put that there; it can kill him." And I yelled, I said, "Please shut up and just do your job quietly." Because understand, when you are in a physical pain, when you are in an emotional pain, your subconscious mind takes everything literally.
Yes.
It just, there is no filter. You know what I mean? Your conscious mind at that moment, emotional pain, physical pain, or when you are unconscious, all these informations automatically will go into the subconscious mind. And that's what happens with children. They get hurt emotionally, they got yelled at, mom and dad, whatever, screaming at them, or the teacher at you, and you are scared. You are scared. You are tense. That time you are not thinking. You try to avoid the feeling. Anything is said, any words, any music, anything could be a re-trigger mechanism.
Okay.
Is this make sense?
Yes, yes, a lot, a lot. Thank you, Attila. That's very valid point, because the first responders, the kind of language they use with the traumatized person matters a lot. Thank you for that. And again, this is a very simple question which I frequently asked, how effective is online training when it comes to learning hypnotherapy?
Well, in the beginning, it was not that simple, because I had to figure out how am I going to use certain techniques. So let's say now I have 10 people, which many times I do almost on a weekly basis. I teach online. So we're going to sit in a room like this. Everybody sees everybody. Everybody can ask questions. So it's almost like a live classroom. Okay. And I'm going to do to the students the demonstrations. Okay. And then they can also practice it. Once this is over, the course is over, I will create a certification. I have a registered school. I'm going to send it to them. And then I'm going to set up supervising hours, which means that either one-on-one, or sometimes students, some they like each other and they practice with each other. So we set up practicing hours when they are practicing, and I'm supervising and I'm giving advice. So if somebody gets triggered, then I can take over in case if there is an emergency.
Right. And one of the when I was exploring your work, Attila, my attention went on an exclusive course that you designed around gut health and everything. So could you please tell more about the importance of gut health in a person's health? What is the role it plays? Gut, and because there is exclusive course that you have designed on gut and psychological disorders, where you emphasize about nutrition and brain and everything. So could you please tell about it?
If you don't mind, because I didn't hear everything, can you come a tiny bit closer to the microphone?
Sure. So
no, perfect.
Gut related to the importance of gut health, Attila.
The gut health.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So it started with me. I was on a cruise ship, and one day we arrived to Cozumel, Mexico. And in the morning when I woke up, from knee below, my leg was retaining water, swelled up like a balloon with water. I couldn't put my shoes on. I was scared. I didn't know what's happening. So everybody is going out there having a great time in Mexico. I'm looking for a pharmacy to get pills to get rid of the water, which it did. From there, when we arrived to Miami, I flew to Hungary to teach. And a couple of days later, it started again. By the third day, I couldn't put a shoe on. I was teaching in suits and slippers.
Okay.
And that started the whole thing. What's happening to me? Something I must have ate. The air on this trip, something got inside of me. And it's just pushed me into searching. And this is what I discovered: wheat.
Okay.
The grain wheat is the most destructive food on this planet. The next one is soy. Wheat and soy destroys you completely.
What's the second
Wheat,
one? Wheat, I understood. The second
wheat,
one? Yeah.
soy,
Okay.
soybean,
Oh, soybean. Okay. Okay.
soybean.
Mm-hmm.
These two is one of the two of the most evil food on the planet. Don't eat it. Now, I don't want to go into the food, but wheat is a neurotoxin. Okay, it destroys your gut bacteria. It has two protein. One of them is gluten, the other is gliadin. When you digest this food, it's actually offset your gut bacteria. So pathogen bacteria can inhibit the intestines. Clostridium or Candida is going to affect the lining of your gut. It's become permeable. They're gonna name it as leaky gut syndrome.
Okay.
And they create tiny little holes on your gut, and undigested toxic food and toxic material leaks into your bloodstream.
Oh, okay.
And it directly goes through, penetrates the blood-brain barrier, and affects the brain.
Oh.
So first, understand many of the mental disorders like schizophrenia, bipolar, borderline, autism, dyspraxia, depression, anxiety. This is all starts from your stomach, from the food what you eat.
Okay, so that's what inspired you to develop a course on gut and psychological disorders?
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, as I started to researching, the more is opened up. And this is what I learned. Everything what they made us to believe is healthy, it's a lie.
Okay.
Forget what they made you believe it's healthy.
Yes.
Okay. So I don't follow trend diets. Trend diets are marketings. I don't follow spiritual. Then it's put me into eventually the last course which I did. It was cellular biology, to understanding how the human cell works. How do I feed the human cell with food and nourishment? It takes 99 different minerals, amino acids, and vitamins what it needs. Okay, so if you only eating selective foods, this cell ain't gonna be healthy. And understand, neither of your brain.
Okay.
So it's very important because people don't understand. A good how do I say, a certain selective diet could be healthy as a cleansing period maybe, or periodic fasting, could be very healthy for a short period of time, but not to live like that.
Okay. Okay. Right. So these were the generic questions. Now let us get into certain questions specific to the therapists, because you come with 3 decades of rich experience. So one of the question about using of the scripts, Attila. So there is this ready-made weight loss script, session 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I put my client into the trance and read a 3-page script. Session 1 over. Like session 2, again I call them. Session 2, I read a 3-4 pages script, and people say that it did work, not that it didn't work. But still, I wanted to ask your opinion about scripts.
It's a very iffy question or a topic, because look, There was a time when I was a total beginner.
Okay.
Okay. My very first induction with friends, I read it from a little booklet.
Okay.
Okay. So the funny part is this is my first ever induction. I'm practicing reading, you know, and the lady who was in the group, one of the lady had an ab reaction, started to crying, shaking. And I had to
First
stop the whole
session.
thing. Everybody
Wow.
opened their eyes. What's going on? So I interviewed the girl, and she told me that her father, when I said to her that, oh, imagine you are on the beach, the ocean, the water is touching your legs, and the sandy beach, and the sun is out, and now the warm water is coming up all the way up to your knees. And that was the moment, and hell got loose. She started to hysterically shaking and crying. So after that, she told me, she says, when I said this, she saw it visually, what I'm talking about. But when she was a little girl, about 6, 7 years old, something like that, they were out on the lake fishing with the father. And the boat, it's capsized.
Oh.
And the father drowned and died. She could swim, so she swam, she got rescued. So even though I tried to create a visualization scene, what I'm reading from a hypnotic book, in the first induction I learned, never, this is a rule, please teach this to everybody, because no one teaching it, okay? Never, ever, ever do direct visualization what you think it's nice to you, because to another person it could be trauma. So let's say I'm going to take you now to the woods or to the field. In the field, there are birds and there are, you know, cowbells and all kind of beautiful sceneries. What if you have an allergic reaction
To the
as an asthma effect or an asthma roham?
Okay. So this can be taken care. It's in the induction phase. Okay, I agree that we can customize it. But when
Now,
it comes
going
to
back to the scripts, I
yes,
know.
yes. Yeah.
So in the beginning, I created scripts: lose weight, stop smoking, you know, gain self-confidence, relaxation, study and
Performance, yeah.
concentration. This is a typical thing, you know.
Yes, yes.
So forget it.
Okay.
Okay, because look, every individual is different.
Okay.
Okay, so you really do need to spend a couple of hours maybe to get to know your clients. Find out their personal goals, learn what they say, the words, how they speak, and create a program together and write that down. Or tell them by the time they come to you to write down what do you want to accomplish. And most people will say a bunch of negative things what they don't want. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I have to correct these. I have to teach them. It's almost like you're teaching them self-hypnosis through a hypnosis session, you know, so they understand they are focusing on the wrong thing. So that's why I'm saying that reading scripts, it's okay if you practice with your friends, so you memorize things. But with clients, no, amateur.
Right. Thank you. Thank you for that. And there are a lot of health benefits we come across people using hypnosis. Like, you know, someone is under medication, of course, under proper supervision. Can hypnotherapy be as a supportive tool to recover faster from certain health issues, Attila? To
Yes.
improve health conditions? Yeah.
Yes, it can, but it depends what is the health issues. Let's say,
Okay.
look, I have medical, on the medical course, I have medical videos on childbirth, on skin, when the skin is burned, you know. So by giving the proper wording, using proper suggestions, is going to heal, how do you say, speed up the healing period.
Okay.
So the person, let's say, instead of being on unemployment for 6 to 8 weeks, it might be only a week or 2 weeks, depends on the injury. Yes? Look, remember that the subconscious mind does not know the difference between real or imagined.
Imaginary.
And one more thing, what they don't really explain to you, or most people, they don't know this. What is hypnosis really? Fantasy and reality coexisting at the same time.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So if I imagine you to being healthy, happy, and successful, okay, now the brain takes it as a part. So now this fantasy exists in your reality. And there are certain things what you have to do on a daily basis to accomplish.
Okay. Okay. And Attila, could you please share the benefits of teaching self-hypnosis to the clients?
They don't know that I'm doing that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So look, they are not there to get educated. They are not there to listening classes and stuff. I just use that terminology for you to understand. It's almost like I'm teaching them how to think, what proper words to use. Give me a sentence what you want to accomplish in your life.
Okay.
Give me a positive sentence. What you think is positive?
Right now? Okay.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
okay. I want to be, successful EFT trainer.
So you want to be a successful
EFT trainer or hypnotherapist.
or EFT,
Yeah.
emotional freedom technique, or
techniques.
okay. Yeah. So the tapping.
Yes.
Okay. So listen, I watch your body language.
Mhm.
You looked away, you were searching, you are uncertain, you didn't know, you had no conviction in you.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? It was a wish,
Okay.
but it was not you. So in hypnosis, I'm going to make you that this is already you.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I will program you or help you to program you that you are already a successful EFT practitioner. You know what I mean? And therefore you become. Because right now at the moment it's a futuristic approach. I would like to be, but when? Is there anything, do you sense what I'm saying?
Yes.
So to me, this is important that the person will understand, yeah, we can talk about this. You want to be successful. How? When? What are you going to do for it? So we create a specific program for that specific person.
So that one can achieve the goal required.
Yeah. The most important, don't diversify yourself into just one area. You know what I mean? Because then you become like a cookie cutter. You think you're gonna use everybody the same way. And I'm really after that. What works for you, maybe it doesn't work for you.
True.
And honestly, I learned this in stage hypnosis. You know what I mean? Because hypnosis techniques in therapy, they teaching you the same technique. But look, not everybody will responding to the same way. Give you a hint. We were camping one day at a lake with my family and kids, and a couple came by and invited over to their campsite, and they were smokers. And we talked, and so eventually they said, "Can you make me stop smoking?" And I give them a business card. So actually, they did came to see me in my clinic. I helped them to quit smoking. After the session, the man didn't even remember he was a smoker. It was a very, very good story. Listen, a couple of years passed by. Guy calls me, "Attila, I started smoking again."
Okay.
Now, at that time, I did not know therapy. I only gave him direct suggestions to become a smoke-free person. Okay. Now, he comes for therapy. I find out his wife passed away. And now he's upset and restarted the smoking again. Because the smoking triggered the emotion, he's closer to his wife, who was, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So, and that was the first moment when I realized, unless we find the cause why they are smoking, it may come back when it gets triggered again. And it's the same with everything.
And application of hypnotherapy in sports. So could you please?
Sports?
Yes, yes.
Yes. Actually, one of the sports therapist in 2006, he was from the Dodgers, Los Angeles, whatever. I don't even know these American teams for sport. So he was one of the trainers there who took my trainings, and we used it. Uh, and I do have a specific segment in my courses for people who are using it in sport. I had a few psychologists in Europe, one in Austria now, who's using these techniques. But look, there is very fine line between the silver and the gold. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
So give you a hint. I had actually, this is true, actual happening. A person always said, I hope I'm not going to be silver again.
Okay.
Okay. And he always been silver behind this person.
Okay.
And when I trained him and I said, listen, we need to switch. Your focus is you don't want to be the silver. So the emotion is not to be a silver. So you are focusing on the silver instead of being number one. Do you feel the difference?
Yes, yes.
So by switching this to making them believe that they can do that and they can accomplish, so we are breaking down those psychological barriers what they have of the fear. And we call this to put yourself into the flow mode. I don't know if you heard about the flow. The flow.
Okay.
Flow. F-L-O-W. Flow. Flow is when you completely focus and you shut out everything. You are only exist in this flow moment.
Wow. Okay. That's awesome. Amazing. So thank you very much, Attila. It was wonderful having you on this interview, and thank you very much for your time to clarify all these questions. Could be very basic, but a lot of people keep asking, so I thought let me ask to an expert directly, and people who watch this interview can now understand the terminology, the application, the benefit, overcoming this how certain misconceptions which still prevail, what if hypnotherapists could find out my secrets or extract something which I don't want to share. So you have answered almost all these questions, and thank you.
Listen, I tell you this, if I would have this power, what you are mentioning, the first trip, where would I go? I would walk into the bank.
Okay.
I would tell the lady, look in my eyes, transfer $10 million to my bank account, and I'm there in the Caribbean islands somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's only a myth. It doesn't happen. But look, where are you living right now? Are you in India?
I'm from India. Yes.
Oh, from India, but you are not in India right now?
I'm in India.
Oh, you are in India. Listen, I also offer, and I would like to expand my training courses. Mm-hmm. So if you're ever interested in it, we can create maybe to become an instructor to teach the basic 2 days courses. I have this in English. Also, I do have the transcendence or paranormal hypnotherapy, which is really, really dealing with the past life and those type of therapies. So if you're ever interested to expand, I would love to expand the repertoire and people teaching this kind of stuff. About regression therapy, remember this. Learn more and more therapy techniques, because listen, a person comes into your chair, they sit down and they say, I want you to help me with my exams in the university. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You relax them. You're going to ask a question. And this question can trigger an emotion which leads or links to a trauma. Now there is an abreaction of this person and you have no idea what to do with this. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So suddenly now what you're going to do with the person who is, let's say, going to say, my grandma died and I loved her very much. Are you trained in grief therapy? Are you trained? You know what I mean?
Yes.
So that's what I mean. Like a person don't understand. It's seemingly so simple.
Yes.
But you know, once you open up a person emotionally, you don't know where they're gonna go.
True.
I hope it was helpful what I just said.
Yes. A lot, Attila, because that's what like a therapist having different tools and techniques handy can be very beneficial. Thank you for that advice.
Look, think about this. I have about 1,000 pages book, what people will receive it through these courses.
Okay.
So it's a lot of stuff.
Yes.
Oh, and one more thing to find out. Also, the master degree, I received it from, I finished Gilboyne's classes and trainings. As you know, Gilboyne was the hypnotist of the century. He was the one who is created, actually, the American Council of Hypnotist Examiners. My school is registered with the American Council, is also registered with the International Medical and Dental Hypnotherapy Association. So once people finish courses with me, they also can register there. They are accepted and you can get actually certified through these two organizations. Gilboyne Transforming Therapy, which is my specialty, and I focus on the idea how to transfer a person to what they want to be.
Okay.
So the entire thing is transformation. A good therapy session is about 1.5 to 2 hours, and it takes at least 5 sessions by the time we come to a conclusion. So don't believe in these that, oh yeah, I have this person in 1 hour and everything goes done.
And everything.
You know,
goes. Yes.
absolute nonsense.
True. Thank you.
In 1 hour, you can't even ask them enough questions to get to know them.
and the expectation is like decades of trauma or depression or whatever could be the issue. Like just one session, is it enough? 2 sessions, is it enough? So that's also a frequently asked question, Attila. Thanks for clarifying that as well.
Sure, if you want, if you have friends in this field, put together a group, and I'm more than happy to talk to them, and they can ask me questions interactive.
Sure. I'll also check with my friends, and maybe a group of people asking the questions will also be it's a nice idea, Attila. I'll definitely plan for that as well.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Attila.
Ciao, ciao.